Off strong with Mr. Greg Dickerson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Michael, how are you today?
I'm doing very, very well. So something that came across my radar, one of my subscribers sent me a link to a video from a channel that I had not seen yet, but I don't know why, because it seems like everybody has seen it. First off, the channel is called Jubilee. They have 6.8 million subscribers, so not a small channel. But they put out a video yesterday that I thought you and I should talk about. It's called Rich versus Poor. Is the Economy Rigged? Which I thought was an interesting title. It's essentially a channel that I believe creates debates. I think there were 6 or 7 individuals. They were all talking about different topics. But I thought you and I would just talk about, hey, is the economy rigged? Because maybe at some level it absolutely is. I think there are some aspects of it that are, I don't know if rigged is the right word, but certainly set up. And if you don't act accordingly, the rat race will, chew you up and spit you out. So I guess I'll start with the title, Rich versus Poor, is the economy rigged? And see what you think of that.
Yeah. So some aspects of it are more geared towards, certain areas and certain individuals than others. The overall economy, I would not say is rigged because, again, we've talked about it before, the America is the land of opportunity. So if you're willing to get out there, educate yourself, do the work, take action, you can create whatever you want out of your life. Now, that being said, a lot of what's going on from a monetary policy, from a political standpoint, yes, that the game is rigged there. Once you get to those levels, you can make the rules. And, definitely we know the financial markets and what's been happening with quantitative easing, those types of things, that's obviously rigged towards, the stock market and, institutional investors.
Yeah. Again, I think there's a lot of this. Again, yeah, I think there's a lot of things. When I watched it, it's over an hour long. I think it's like 75 minutes long, and I had to watch it in chunks. But I got to admit, I think rigged is one of those trigger words that, kind of makes you react one way or the other. But I think there's a lot of things about our economy. And again, I look internally that you have to make choices. If you just bounce along with your life and you just, you go to work, you come home, you go to work, come home, you're going to kind of get what you get, right? Our economy, in my opinion, is set up to create school systems, create employees, and our economy is set up to consume. Neither of which really leads to being an entrepreneur. Nothing here leads to taking risks, right? And we're not taught this, right? You have this innate ability, Greg, and that's why you're in my book, 15 Conversations with Real Estate Millionaires. I think you were naturally born an entrepreneur. I don't think most people are. And unless you're taught how to take risks or do the work, as I say, that does, again, I don't know if I think rigged is a trigger word, but I think it's set up to create employees and consumption. And both of those things don't really lead to financial wealth, right? Being an employee, hard to get rich. Consumption, hard to get rich. So at that aspect, I think that's what the system does. And if you do nothing, then you're not rich.
Yeah. It's really interesting. When you go back to our ancestors, most people were entrepreneurial. They were merchants, they were farmers. They created whatever they needed to create in order to sustain life. And like you said, with our traditional educational system, we've gotten away from some of that because you do need employees, obviously, to keep things going. You do need education. Education is the only way to get yourself out of poverty, but beyond a certain level, education is generally geared towards filling jobs, versus the entrepreneurial aspects of it. And again, if you look at the word rigged, I think the only thing that's truly rigged would be the political system and the financial markets.
Okay.
There's definitely, an elite group that, makes decisions in those levels. And if you want to know who writes the laws, that's the insurance companies. If you want to know who controls, financial markets in general, you have big pharma, you have big corporations, you have insurance companies, you have investments, funds, the people that can, donate and, help create legislation because they're basically buying politicians,
right?
And that works across the board. Financial markets, obviously, the liquidity that's been created and pumped into markets, just like back in 08, 09 on the real estate side, the rating agencies that were selling the products they were rating
Oh,
and creating, are the ones that were allowed to get away with things. And those same big investors that created the problem were allowed to buy all of those toxic assets back for pennies on the dollar, and then turn around and resell them and or turn them into rental products. So it's just this whole huge, wheel that keeps going around. We're seeing the same thing in financial markets right now. Jay Powell for the last 6 weeks has raised the flag, take profits, take profits. You got bonuses coming up.
Sell.
We're going to keep the liquidity pool running for the next 6 weeks. You have 6 weeks to get out without crashing the market. And that's what he said, last week at the, at the FOMC meeting, was basically take your profits, lock in your bonuses, and you got about 6 weeks to get it done before we have to do something, because we can't not do anything.
Right. Yeah, inflation got away from us.
That's rigged. I mean, everybody knew it. We've been watching the markets, tailor values towards the narrative from the Fed. Jay Powell comes from the investment banking world. So, if you look at, if you want to call rigged, rigged from that standpoint. But in terms of opportunity, there's no deck stacked against anyone in this country that wants to educate themselves, get out, do the work, take action, and create their own opportunities. That is never going away. It hasn't gone away, and it's still alive and well today as it was. Actually, it's even easier today to stake your own claim, than it was when I started, or, even before that.
Yeah, that's just something. So what I want to talk to you about was really two things. First, the rigged aspect. I think you're right. I think there are aspects of this that are set up for the elite, not the others, i.e. the Fed coming in 20 months ago saying, hey, money's free. We're going to buy everything we can. That was to prop up assets and to save debt-ridden companies, because otherwise the economy could have been in tatters and in real trouble, clearly. And now he's giving signals, guys, get out, lock in profits, get out.
Let's look at the political system. I mean, you and I can't go print money or take on all the debt we want to just spend frivolously. We have to balance our budget. We have so much coming in, we have to make it work. So when you look at the federal government and where it all starts, they're spending money on stupid things and lining their own pockets, and they just keep printing to do it.
Totally get it. So now let's flip to the other side. The first 3 words, I guess, were rich versus poor. This is something that I'm really proud of this channel. I'm proud of your story, my story. I believe everybody, at least in the US, it's the only economy that I know of with any depth. All of us have the ability to make our financial future better, right? If you're willing to sacrifice, do the work, and do it consistently, you can improve your financial system. Whether you are a single mother as a teenager, have evidence of that on the channel. Whether you grew up in Section 8 housing, we have examples of that. Whether you're a 9th grade dropout and not set up for success, we have examples of that. Whether you quit your job and start a business with a truck and a toolbox, you're an example of that. Whether you lose 80% of your net worth because of stupid stock choices, you have examples of that. So again, when I think rich versus poor, that's just a moment in time. If you want a better financial future, you can do the work, whether it's stocks, crypto, real estate, entrepreneurship, you can do it. It's not easy. It's not quick, but if you stay at it and you learn, during the way, you can have a better future. And if you do it long enough, you can be rich. What do you think?
Yeah. Poor is permanent. Broke is temporary.
Oh, so, I like that.
Poor is a choice of a position in a place, whereas broke is a temporary setback. So those are two definite mindset shifts. And then rich and wealthy are two very different things too. You can be rich, which is temporary. Wealth is permanent. So, those are the things you want to really look at. It's easy to make $1 million. The hard part's keeping it.
Yeah.
Making your first $1 million is not that hard, especially now. Hanging on to it. That's what's hard, because what's the first thing that happens as your income goes up? You want to spend more. You want the bigger house. You want the Lambo.
The taxes come get you. Taxes.
Taxes. People forget about taxes when they're making money. But what they really forget is, reinvest.
Yes.
Reinvest those profits into other assets that will generate the cash flow to pay for what you want. Rich dad, poor dad. You go back to that. Build businesses that generate cash flow to invest in other assets that then pay for your lifestyle on autopilot.
Yeah. This again is something I really love. Can you do that mindset shift again? Again, rich versus wealthy, poor versus broke. Just a little bit more on that is something I think people need to hear.
So one's permanent and is labeling yourself, where the other one is just a temporary situation. So rich is just kind of temporary. I'm rich. Well, I got a lot of money. Okay, that can come and go.
Yeah, we've
If you're
seen that.
wealthy-
We've seen that. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, at all kinds of levels. I've seen billionaires end up broke. I've seen, 100 millionaires end up broke. I've seen
Yeah.
millionaires end up broke.
Yep.
And we've all seen sports stars, actors, actresses,
Lotto winners,
performers, everybody, celebrities. So rich is a temporary state of being that can be created by any number of things, whereas wealthy is more of a lifestyle choice and a mindset to invest those riches into other assets to protect and grow that wealth. So that's a big difference. And, it's a lifestyle choice. Same thing with poor and broke. You can be temporarily broke, meaning you just don't have any funds at the moment, or you can be poor. Poor is a lifestyle choice. I can't afford that. I can't do this. I don't have the money. Whereas, rich and wealthy, the mindset is, how can I afford that? How can I get the money? And one of the things that, you say I was born as an entrepreneur, but some of it was built into me, by my dad, because if I wanted something, he wouldn't give it to me. He'd say,
true.
You want something, go make the money and figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah.
You need money to live. You need to figure out how to create what you want. So ever since, childhood, I've created whatever it is I've wanted. I mean, all the basic things like going to martial arts. If I wanted to test for the next belt, my parents didn't automatically pay for it because I'd already earned it in this class. I had to go earn the money then to pay for the next belt,
Nice.
And to pay for the testing. And back then, it was $25. It wasn't free or cheap.
Yeah.
I had to pay for my own uniforms, had to pay for my own belt. Now they got me the first one I even had to earn the money to even get started in taking karate lessons. Now they paid for the lessons, but I had to pay for everything else.
That's awesome. Yeah, folks, again, I love this concept. Again, if you haven't checked out the video, it's Jubilee. I think it's Jubilee. Lots of you are probably subscribers. I haven't seen a channel at 6.8 million. So shout out to Jubilee. Check it out. It came out yesterday. Rich versus Poor, is the economy rigged? Greg, how can people find you?
GregDickerson.com. All my info's there, YouTube channel, podcast. And I do not have 6.8 million subscribers yet, but
soon.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way. Thanks, buddy.